The following podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. Like what you hear? Want more of it ad-free, uncensored, and earlier? Sign up today at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca and start getting more for as little as $2 a month. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for your main event, where news and opinions on the sport of kings collide. WrestleMedia is proud to present The Wrasslun Show.
Welcome to The Wrasslun Show, a part of WrestleMedia, where everything is wrestling and wrestling is everything. I am Matthew Sookram, and I am all by myself this week. Yes, the team was finally back together on last week's episode, and now, as we say, life happens, and I'm left alone. But that's okay because, well, this is the best instance of life happening. Adam Conton, our Lord and Savior Adam Conton here on the network, is welcoming in a new life to the world. He's not having a kid. He's becoming an uncle again. His sister-in-law is giving birth, so we want to say congratulations to Adam on becoming an uncle, I believe for the second time. I'm pretty sure he has I can't remember if it's a niece or a nephew that he has. So much for really knowing my partner in crime here, but I know his sister has a child, and now so his sister-in-law has given birth as well. So congratulations, Adam, on becoming an uncle. That's probably the best relation to have, right? You're the cool uncle. You're the one that's going to let these kids do all the fun stuff, and then you don't really have any of the responsibility of having to clean up after them. You just give them back to their parents when you're done with them. So last week, I know we had a lot of fun booking The Undertaker in WCW at the beginning of 1997 onwards. We did get some feedback. Our listeners did love that. And I didn't want to go ahead and continue with that without Adam here because it was kind of a dual thing. He would book one month, I would book another month, just kind of how Undertaker would be booked at that event. So I'm going to do something a little similar here with one of the guys that was brought up in that WWE Reimagined video. That's kind of how this all started. WWE has put out a new series on YouTube, and it's called Reimagined, and their team put together what it would have been like if The Undertaker jumped ship, went to WCW, and there would be three main feuds that he would have. One of them would be Hollywood Hogan, the other would be Sting, and the other would be Goldberg. So what I wanted to do, and this kind of stems off of what happened at the Super Showdown event in Saudi Arabia or just last month, I believe, is Undertaker took on Goldberg. I think that's a match we should have gotten a long time ago, and it probably should have happened in 2003. So what I'm going to do today is rebook Goldberg's year in the WWE in 2003. But before we get there, I want to say, if you're a first-time listener, thank you so much for downloading The Wrasslun Show, and why not head over to WrestleMedia.ca, where you can check out everything we have to offer here on our wrestling podcasting network. It's WrestleMedia.ca. You can sign up for our newsletter, which will get you all the information you need. We go on the road. Well, Adam goes on the road, but some of us join him sometimes. He's at a lot of different events, and with this newsletter, you can see where Adam is going to be, so you can reach out, you can talk to him in person. He's always got giveaways, he's always got tickets, he's always got merchandise, so he's got a lot of stuff that he wants to give away, and you can get all that information on the newsletter. Or if you really like what you're hearing and you want more of it, why not go to Patreon/WrestleMedia.ca, and as Adam likes to say, throw in a few ducats into our buckets to help make this a reality for us. We'd love to do this as a full-time thing, and we can only get there through your monetary support. So go on over there, check out the different levels of tiers and ways in which you can support us. And there's also tons of extra stuff you get the higher of the tier you go. You get early episodes, you get more content on your episodes as well. If you're doing this on the free version, it is edited down version. Sometimes it is a censored version. But if you're a Patreon, you get all of it uncut, uncensored, delivered right to you before anybody else. And again, just go over to Patreon/WrestleMedia.ca to get all the information on what you can get as a Patreon sponsor of WrestleMedia. Want to talk about a couple of news and notes before we get to the Goldberg rebooking. This is an interesting story about WWE referee Charles Robinson. Now, not interesting in the sense that he's lost some stuff, but just something I never knew about the guy. I mean, how much do we actually know about WWE referees, though, right? So Charles Robinson, it's being reported that $50,000 worth of horror movie memorabilia was stolen from a storage unit he was renting in his hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina. So being on the road all the time, he doesn't have a lot of time to set out all the or his whole collection of memorabilia. But yeah, he had to store a bunch of it in a storage unit, and it's all stuff from the 70s, 80s, 90s of horror movie icons and props and mannequins and posters. And unfortunately for him, he said it's really part of my childhood. Like most people, I like to go back in time and relive it, and really collecting is something I've done for 35 to 40 years. So unfortunately for him, he's built up this huge collection over 4 decades, and someone broke in to this storage unit. And he said the items that were taken away were collectively worth anywhere from $50,000 to $55,000. He said, at first I was very sad, and then I got angry, and now I'm just trying to get some answers. And it doesn't look like this storage unit that he rents from has security cameras. So unfortunately for him, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to get some of that stuff back. Although, because it's stuff from a movie, it should be pretty recognizable. I mean, if these people stole it and are then trying to pawn it off, a lot of pawn shops are pretty up to date on whether this stuff is legit or not. And if they hear this story, they're going to ask the people, hey, where'd you get it from? Or maybe they don't. Maybe they'll go to, these seedy underground pawn shops and just try to get a little bit of dough out of that. But yeah, unfortunate news for a WWE referee, but that I find it interesting that he's got this thing on the side. He collects stuff from horror movies. There's an interview with him, and he's sitting in front of 3 mannequins. One is Freddy Krueger, one is Michael Myers. So yeah, it's definitely different to see this side of a WWE official, and I do hope that he at least gets some of his stuff back. Moving on to some more of the news that came out of what happened on the shows this week. Looks like we're going to get a WrestleMania rematch at SummerSlam. Seth Rollins won a battle royal to become the number 1 contender. So he is going to face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam as of this point. Again, that could always change. I'm not really sure why they're going in this direction. Seth Rollins, I thought, was doing well with the title. I thought he could have had some better opponents than Baron Corbin. I thought Baron Corbin was going to be kind of just the launching pad into another big feud. I guess that is kind of what this is, but I didn't think they needed to take the belt off of Seth. But maybe someone was sitting around the office going, oh crap, Lesnar still has the Money in the Bank briefcase and we haven't done anything with that yet. And now that Paul Heyman is the executive director, I believe is his title for Monday Night Raw. Well, he's the head of writing anyway, or creative for Monday Night Raw. Yeah, it's not surprising that Brock Lesnar now has the title once again. We'll see where this goes. Wasn't overly thrilled with that segment on Raw, but it is what it is. Seth Rollins is, the rightful guy. I don't know if he's the next big superstar. I think they're still saving that for Roman Reigns, and we'll see where that goes. But it looks like it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal title once again at SummerSlam.
Hey, this is a commercial for patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca, where you can get early access to episodes of your favorite WrestleMedia shows, get full uncut and uncensored versions of your favorite shows, and more. Don't want to hear this commercial on your podcast anymore? Sign up at our main event tier and get these episodes ad-free. Want to hear your own commercial here instead of ours? We've got tiers for that too. Visit patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca and join the WrestleMedia revolution today.
Bray Wyatt is back. He's been on WWE programming for a long time. I think just after WrestleMania is when the Firefly Funhouse vignettes began. And he made his presence felt by coming out and attacking Finn Balor. This is the first time we have seen Bray Wyatt in a WWE ring in a long time. And if you missed it, Finn Balor defeated Samoa Joe on Monday Night Raw. Lights went down. Creepy music. Well, it wasn't really music. It was more of a sound effect that played. And then there he was in the ring with Finn Balor in the Sister Abigail pose, wearing that mask. He calls himself the Fiend mask. And he delivered Sister Abigail to Finn Balor. Lights went back out, and Bray Wyatt was gone. Very reminiscent of Undertaker's shtick here, but I like it. Longtime listeners of this podcast know how much of a fan I am of Bray Wyatt. Let's see him actually win some matches now, though. Let's see him actually do something with this new terrorizing, terrifying character. Because that's the thing about Bray Wyatt before. Loved his promos. Talked a big game. Never really won. And then when he did become WWE champion, they took the title away from him after a month. So, I'm still being a little bit reserved here. Great gimmick. Great visuals. Awesome guy to pull it off with. Let's see where it goes from here, though. There's also a number one contender for Becky Lynch's Women's Championship, and it's going to be Natalya. She won a multi-person match as well on Raw. It was only 4 people, though. She beat Alexa Bliss, Naomi, and Carmella. And it looks like it's going to be Bliss versus Natalya at SummerSlam. This is interesting. Natalya got kind of hot there before WrestleMania, and then hadn't really done a lot since that point. I can see this just being as, let's just give Becky a really strong in-ring opponent to take on at SummerSlam. Or they could be going for a big swerve here and putting the title on Natalya. I don't know. I'm waiting to see how this is going to be booked. Again, we still have a couple of weeks until SummerSlam, so we'll see. Natalya, I love Natalya. Great in-ring performer. She has a good personality. I just didn't know if Natalya was, or where she stood on the card. I thought maybe Alexa Bliss, or maybe they would give that wild card thing they're doing to Nikki Cross. I honestly don't understand any of the rules with this wildcard free agent stuff, to be honest with you. So maybe I'm out of line in saying that Nikki Cross could challenge Becky Lynch, but I don't know. They're not really explaining how this really works week to week. They're kind of just figuring it out as they go along. So it's leaving us to kind of figure it out as they go along. But anyway, yeah, Natalya, interesting choice. This could be really good, though. This could be a really fun summer feud that could last past SummerSlam. I don't know, the whole thing about Becky and Seth's on-screen relationship. I like that they tagged up at Extreme Rules. I just don't know how much weight it's going to have. It seems like Natalya is taking shots at that relationship as well. I don't know. It feels kind of old hat now when two people come out as partners on WWE television as they are in real life. I don't know. It never really ends well. There's not a whole lot of wrestling relationships that come out in the public light and get used in WWE storylines that really last a long time. So I don't know if it's really something they want to continue to play with. I think there's better things they could be doing with Natalya and Becky Lynch. I hope that starts to move into more about this is about the title as opposed to I'm going to keep making comments about your relationship. Over on SmackDown, Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon still continue to feud because, you got to give the hottest heel Shane McMahon something to do. Because being in a feud with Undertaker and Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, that hasn't been enough for Shane. Nope. He's got to continue to take on actual wrestlers. Owens beat Ziggler on SmackDown though, but yeah, McMahon got into the ring and KO hit the stunner before running away from a bunch of other wrestlers. Here's what they're trying to do, if it hasn't been obvious yet. They are trying to recreate Vince versus Stone Cold from 97, 98. That's exactly what's going on here. You just have another McMahon in the spot of Vince. You have his son Shane, and you have Owens in the spot of Austin. And I like that idea. A lot of people for a long time have said Owens is in line to be the next Austin, and now they've given him the stunner to use in his arsenal. So yeah, I mean it is what it is. I like the idea of Kevin Owens being the guy that goes against the authority, the guy that doesn't want to conform to what the boss is saying. I like that idea. I just think that, Shane McMahon as part of it as an in-ring character is just overdone. It doesn't need to happen anymore. Get him out of the ring. Had enough of seeing him. He got a victory over one of the top baby faces, The Miz, at WrestleMania. And what really has The Miz done since that point? You know what I mean? It's just so weird, but maybe not surprising that McMahon is being positioned in this spot. Daniel Bryan had something big to say on SmackDown as well. But he came out 3 times, looked like he was going to cry, never said anything, and then just left before he could deliver his announcement. Kind of weird. I don't know what they're teasing here. Is it another retirement announcement? I'm not sure. Whatever it's going to be, Daniel Bryan is probably going to deliver it well. I've always said he fits... He really embodies any kind of character that he's trying to portray. So depending on where they're going with this new revelation of this character, I think Daniel Bryan is going to hit it out of the park. I don't know if he's going to be thrown back into the WWE Championship mixed with Kofi Kingston, but it looks like Samoa Joe, Elias, and Randy Orton are in that mix right now. They defeated the New Day in a 6-man tag match. So out of those 3, I don't know who gets me the most excited. I guess Samoa Joe does. I know he's coming off a loss at Extreme Rules, but he's a guy that's been positioned for a long time to kind of be in that top heel position. Samoa Joe as WWE champion, does that get you excited? Kind of. If he's got the right opponent, if he's got the right story, I think I could get behind that. Samoa Joe and Kofi Kingston at SummerSlam. Yeah, I think I could see it. Although it was Randy Orton that was looking the strongest in that 6-man tag match. He was the one that pinned Kofi Kingston, so we'll see. Orton versus Kofi Kingston doesn't get me excited. I haven't been excited about a lot of Randy Orton stuff in a long time. So if it's up to Orton and Samoa Joe, I'm going with Samoa Joe. I'd rather see him in a title feud heading into SummerSlam. So those were just some of the news and notes from what's happening in the ring as WWE gets ready for SummerSlam. So that's going to be it for the Wrasslun Show this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, head over to WrestleMedia.ca for all your news and information about what else is going on WrestleMedia. We've got bios, we've got all the info on the podcast, we have the latest podcasts up there, and if you like what you heard, why not go ahead and give us a rating on the platforms you subscribe to, where you get WrestleMedia and the Wrasslun Show Network podcast, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud. We're also on Spotify now, so go ahead, give us a rating. We'd like 5 stars. You can give us 1 star if you want, because that will help us improve what we do here at WrestleMedia. And if you really like what you heard, you can head over to patreon.ca or patreon/WrestleMedia.ca and throw a few ducats in our buckets so that we can make this something we do consistently and give you more. We love talking wrestling. Obviously, that's why we're doing a podcast, but we would love to do it as a full-time thing, and we can only get there if you help us get there. So again, thank you so much for indulging me in my news and notes and in my reimagining and rebooking of what I would have done if I had Goldberg in the WWE for 1 calendar year. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let us know. Maybe we'll do more of this. Maybe we'll get back to regular format on just discussing the news and notes. Maybe we'll actually have 2 guys on the podcast next week. Again, I'm at the Sookram. Adam Colton away this week. Again, congratulations to Adam on becoming an uncle once again. This has been The Wrasslun Show, and you know what to do. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat.
This has been a presentation of The Wrasslun Show Network, where everything is wrestling, and wrestling is everything.
Here's what you're missing out on right now over at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca.
Goldberg over Nash at Bad Blood. And then in the main event for the Heavyweight Championship, Triple H is accidentally going to cost Orton the title versus Booker T. Because that's what Triple H does.
Want more? Sign up now at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca.